Welcome back, artists. This week we're going to be making a stargazing collage. So I'm going to show you how to paint the background to look like the galaxy or like space, and then you can collage on top planets, or I'll show you how to make a silhouette of trees or hills like you saw in the sample picture. You're going to need watercolor or tempera paint. I'm going to be using tempera, but if you don't have that, watercolor will work fine. And then you're going to need a thick white paint to go over the top, so acrylic or again a tempera paint that we can kind of splatter around. You're definitely going to need some newspaper or go outside for the painting portion of this so you don't make a mess. And then you're going to need an extra piece of paper, either black if you're going to do a silhouette, or white paper that you can color in with pastel or crayons, and then cut out your planets or whatever you're going to glue on the top. All right, let's go ahead and get started on these awesome galaxy pictures. Okay, artists, let's go ahead and get started on these space collages. As you can see, I used cutout paper to make planets out of pastel, but I just taped these on, so let me go ahead and show you the other version of this. You can use black paper, or if you want to just use a black Sharpie or pastel, you can make a silhouette of trees, or on the picture I sent you guys, it was like a hill with someone with their dog. So that's another choice for this picture as well. So we're gonna get started on the background first. So I used tempera paint, and I used a variety of colors. So you wanna use cool colors. I have two different blues, a purple, and then a pink. White is gonna be for the stars on top, and I have black as well for the edges. Now you can also use watercolor paint if you don't have tempera. They sell a really decent brand, the Sargent one. They have it at Dollar Tree, and you can get it pretty inexpensive if you did wanna get some tempera to have at home. Okay, so I'm gonna get a piece of paper to start my background, and notice that I have a big cover down on my table. Please cover your tables when you're painting. We wanna make sure, even though it's tempera and it's washable paint, we wanna make sure that we don't make a mess. Okay, so first I'm gonna start out in the middle, and I'm gonna put kind of across diagonally the light blue, and I'm gonna blend in the pinks and purples and then slowly get darker till it fades out to black on the edges. So I'm gonna get my light blue. If you want it lighter, you can always add a little bit of white into it. And I just wanna create that diagonal line. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just add some out too that I can blend in later. And then I'm gonna start with my pinks and some light purple. So I'm gonna switch to my pink. And it's okay to kind of mix it in on the edges. That's gonna make a nice blend. And you guys know red and blue makes purple, so pink and blue is also gonna make kind of a lighter purple color, which is fine because we're gonna fade to purple next. Okay, next I'm gonna start adding in some of my purple and darker blues. And again, it's okay to mix these in. We want it to be a nice blend. So I'm gonna add some blue. And then on the corners, I'm gonna go in with black. Okay, so now that I have the basic outline, I'm gonna go in and kind of blend these and make it look a lot nicer. So you can just go ahead back and over with the colors and kind of fade them into the last one before to make it more of a smooth transition. Okay, once you're pretty happy with the look of the painting, we're gonna set it aside to dry. Once it's dry, we're gonna go over top with the stars. So right now I want you to figure out, do you want to add a silhouette If so, you need to go grab some black paper or get a black pastel and you can draw it on a white paper and cut it out. Or would you rather create some planets? So grab another piece of paper. And what I did for my planets is I simply traced a circle. So you can find either your paint bottles, maybe your water cup you're using, and trace that around and then color them to look like the different planets. Okay, so once you get those drawn, you can cut them out. Okay, so I did a Saturn, an Earth. You can make, I have a little Mars here, a Jupiter. So you can kind of look up what those look like and draw those and then cut them out. Okay, once you get that finished, go back to your other painting, and here's the part where we're gonna add the stars to it. So what you wanna do is get some white paint. If you have acrylic, that's gonna work better, but if you don't, tempera's gonna work just fine. You're gonna wanna get your brush wet and make the paint a little bit wet so that it flows more easily. And if you have an old toothbrush, a toothbrush works great for this. So I'm gonna take my paintbrush, and you don't wanna fling it around and make a huge mess, but one method is you can tap it over your finger onto the paper like this. And another method is you can flick it down at your paper. Okay, so you're gonna want a lot of stars, and if you wanna use yellow for this instead, you can. Okay, so go around, get your stars all over, and your parents would probably prefer if you went outside for this portion. Because even when you're being really careful, it's easy to flick it where it's not supposed to go. Okay, so you want to cover the whole thing, and then what I did is see where you have these big chunks. If you have big chunks of white that you don't want, kind of take your brush and you can blend those back into the painting and add some highlights to it. Okay, and then I'm going to go back in over that spot. Okay, perfect. So now we have our galaxy background. Again, you're gonna wanna let this part dry, your stars dry. Go back and cut out your shapes from earlier, and then you can go ahead and collage and glue those down. Or if you decided to do a silhouette of trees instead, you can glue that down to the bottom. If you guys made one of these beautiful galaxy paintings, please go ahead and show us and send it in so we can see what you're working on. And then we'll see you next week for another art project here. All right, thank you, artists. See you soon.